Hey, 80s flicks, if you could stop making me think about She's All That when I watch you, I'd really appreciate it. It's not a good movie. Jamie,
Yeah.
let's go watch Some Kind of Wonderful. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. We're an 80s movie podcast where every 2 weeks we watch a different movie from the 80s and then we talk about that movie. My name's Doug McCambridge. I'm one of you two hosts, and with me, as always, is Jamie Lorello. Jamie, how are you?
Yeah. I'm some kind of wonderful today.
I was going to say, if you did not have those headphones on, I'm sure I would see very, very expensive diamond earrings.
Oh, so expensive. College tuition. Diamond earrings. Diamond earrings.
I don't know how many years he'd been working or what he's been paid.
They were bonds that were increasing in value.
And man, you're just flushing that money down the toilet. Your
Right?
first date with this girl, you're going to buy those for her?
And no wonder that was so. Listen, I don't want to spoil anything for people that haven't seen this movie.
Yeah.
But the way that date goes.
Jamie, our whole podcast is spoiling the movie.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess if you have not seen it, stop right now. Jamie's about to say some pretty crazy stuff. Go back, watch Some Kind of Wonderful, and then jump in, I guess.
And then get ready. Because so when at the end he takes her on this sweet date, and
Yeah.
part of it's kind of sweet, right? They get to go to this fancy restaurant, they bond a little over fight, whatever.
I'm
But
not
when
sure
they-
what's going on start to finish on that date. Because at first I'm like, so he's just doing this to get back at her, right? Like he's making her feel like a piece of trash with all this
Right.
caviar. And then half the time I'm like, no, this seems sincere. Wait,
But
why
then
did
he's
you settle
nice to
this
her.
up?
Yeah, I know.
very
Yeah, he
confused.
like tries to be a jerk, but then he's not because he's really a nice guy.
Right.
But then they go into the museum. Like part of their date is like, oh, this is kind of a cute little first date. Until he brings her to the room where there's a giant portrait of her, and she stays. She's not a.
Head for the hills, Leah Thompson. You are in a darkened museum after hours with this guy who painted a full-length portrait of you.
I would be so creeped out.
He
I would
also
be, I guess,
spent his
flattered a
life
little bit,
savings
but then,
on
yeah,
jewelry.
on diamond earrings because you liked wearing them.
Yeah.
And he has very bad social skills. You point that out to him.
I think,
So maybe.
yeah, I think a half hour earlier at the restaurant, he called you a rich bitch or something. Like, what you need to get out of this.
Well, we know later she does. She's like, I think that little weird short-haired pixie girl is your soulmate.
Yeah, he's best friends with a neo-Nazi or something. Get away from this kid.
She makes the right choice in the end. She does it nicely. But yeah,
She does. I have to say, there were a lot of. I think one time I referred to movies like this as having twists and turns, and you laughed for a good 5 minutes straight. But I do like some of the resolutions. And Leah Thompson's, you know what?
I need to
don't
be
need
alone.
a guy. I'm good
Yeah.
on my own for a while. I really did enjoy that. And I'm not saying it made up for things that weren't great at the end, but
It left you
I
with a
did
feel
enjoy.
good. Yeah.
I kind of loved the party, like the party start to finish. I loved that. I thought it was great. I thought when what's his name? The names in this movie also are crazy.
Oh, yeah. It took
Like,
me through half of it to get.
Dutch.
Is that
Dutch
her boyfriend?
Hardy. No, Dutch is the skinhead.
Oh, okay, that's the bully guy. Okay.
Hardy is her boyfriend. The creep.
Hardy?
Yeah, Hardy. Like the restaurant, like the fast food chain. Her name is Watts.
Well, that's Mary Stuart Masterson's name, right? Is Watts, which, yeah.
Yes.
What's his name?
His name is Keith.
Keith, that's right. We do know.
And they just name her after a Rolling Stones song just so they can play the Rolling Stones
They
song.
play a couple of versions of it, too.
Versions of it.
Yeah.
Why? And why do we hear such a terrible version before the Rolling Stones?
I know. We should have let out with the Rolling Stone version.
Yeah.
I know.
When they played that, I was like, I guess they didn't have the money for the Stones. And then later you hear the Rolling Stones. I was like, why would you lead with that?
What are we doing with that? Well, because isn't that the one where forget when they play that song? I don't know. Super cheesy when they do. Super cheesy.
Oh,
And she doesn't seem like the kind of girl you're going to write a song about. I'm just going to say it. She's very sweet, Leia Thompson or Amanda, but I'm not. She's not the kind of girl you're singing songs about. I don't think. But then again, I don't like Eric Stoltz. So who am I? I'm probably outside of the common opinion, and that's fine.
I think you might be, because the whole time I'm like, Eric Stoltz, like, why are you a nerd? Like, he's a pretty. See, and I would refer to him as a pretty attractive guy, and he likes art, so nobody talks to him. Like, he seems normal. It's almost like a "she's all that" syndrome, where it's like, wait, what? How is this guy like a loser? You're only a loser because you call yourself a loser, and your sister calls you a loser. Like, that's the only evidence we get of him being a loser in this movie.
Well, and I guess because he's very nice. He's too nice, right? And he goes, I don't know, does he go to
is that a negative?
Well, because he's not
too nice.
I don't know. I guess so, because
I don't know.
And he must be poor. Oh, he must be from the bad side of town, too.
Right, yes.
You know how that could change things.
I do like when her friend's driving him home, and she's like, "Where do you live?" And Leah Thompson goes, "Oh, right down the street. I mean, under the bridge from my house."
Under the bridge. He's a troll.
That's pretty rough.
Yeah. Right. He lives with his troll family under the bridge. Hello. Okay, so let's get a little bit into this. We're already in it, but let's get in it. So it's Some Kind of Wonderful. Is it 1987?
Yes,
87.
It is. Yeah.
Okay, it's a John Hughes film.
It is, and that's why it puzzled me. Two reasons why it puzzled me that I had never seen this. First, it's a John Hughes film. Pretty sure I was John Hughes complete. Like, I thought...
You thought you had them all in.
Now, he didn't direct it, he wrote it, but still. And also, 87, and you get 87, 88, that is in my HBO wheelhouse. So I am shocked that I had never seen this movie before. I've seen things like Solar Babies 1,000 times where I have never seen this movie.
I had mistaken this when you first said Some Kind of Wonderful. I thought it was Mr. Wonderful, which was a 1992 movie with Matt Dillon. Not the same movie at all. But in my head, I'm like, oh, it's that Mr. Wonderful movie, and Matt Dillon's going to try to pawn his wife off on other men. And then I got into it, and I was like, this isn't that movie at all. I realized I was in the wrong decade. We do a podcast about 80s movies.
I don't know what movie I thought this was, but I was waiting for Robert Downey Jr. to show up. And I'm just watching this going, well, I didn't see his name in the credits, but maybe he'll be here at some point.
He would have made a great limo driver.
Well, if it turned out to be a gay romance at the end of this, it may have salvaged this movie for me. I'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, he's in love with his best friend. I get it. I understand that.
Look at those.
But of course, it's the 80s, so we cannot have a platonic friendship between a guy and a girl.
No.
And that's, I know these are these movies, but it's something that really bothers me about stuff like this. Like, even the TV show Friends, you can't just leave it. They all have to pair up at the end.
No,
like,
there's no need
do we
for the
have
pairing.
to do this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's something that bothers me more and more.
I can
the
hear
more I
it.
see it, the more I realize, like, every TV show, that's what you do. You start out with two characters, and, oh, maybe they just work together. Maybe they're just friends. But then at some point in the show, in the movie, they have to end up together, and I don't know why that is. Like, I don't know why.
It's because of the culture. It's because of what we think we've got to do. And you're right, it shouldn't be. And
I also think it's because I'm older and I'm jaded, and had I seen
jaded.
this as a teen, I'd probably would have been like, yeah, I was rooting for this the whole time, but not now. I wasn't.
No, not now. I wasn't either. Even for her, I thought you could do better. And so could he. He needs to go to college.
You hate Eric Stoltz. Right? Well, that's what infuriated me at the end of this. When he gave her those earrings, he's like, I kind of knew you wanted these the whole time. And she's like, really? These earrings for me? Oh, I'm so happy.
Like suddenly
I
this
just wanted her
was-
to go. I wanted her to like take them and be like, no, go to college.
Yeah.
Like, great. End it like that.
Yeah.
Fine. If they have to kiss, do it, but end it like that. Not with her deciding to be a girly girl
Yeah.
and be like, yeah, all I've been missing in my life is a
This
good
bear
man and
some diamond earrings. Yeah. Good man and diamond earrings. Now I can grow my hair out long and be more confident about my body.
We're really beating up on this movie, and I do want to say a lot of this movie I enjoyed.
Okay, so again, leading us through, we're getting to know some of our characters, and we go to...
Oh, this was a real flash dance open for me. He's walking train tracks.
Yeah.
There's funky music. She's drumming and sweating.
We're watching her just drum the beats. He's working on cars and underneath cars, and then walking on toward the train as the train is coming at him. Leah Thompson's getting it on.
I was not buying Eric Stoltz as a grease monkey. I gotta tell you,
No, not at all.
Not,
I agree.
no,
I
nope.
agree. I'm like, I could paint roofs on houses, something like that. But let's
Sure, yeah.
Or paint.
Did
houses.
you say
paint
roofs
Yeah.
on houses?
No.
Is that how you think roofs are put on? Just dip a brush into a bucket of shingles and they just roll right on. It's great. No, but you're right. And there's a lot of manual labor jobs that I could see Eric Stoltz doing. There was this movie that I saw him in. It was a while ago, and he was older in it, and he played a bartender, and it was another one of those things where I was like, Eric Stoltz is a bartender. I am not buying this at all.
No.
Eric Stoltz should have played Soul Man. He would have done a good job.
I agree. I agree to that. Although it's weird because
That's
he's
the
got
job
the red
Eric
hair.
Stoltz
Exactly.
Red hair. He could have just wore a wig. Like, it would have been so much more offensive and crazy. I guarantee you
we've got better
auditioned
options
for that.
for you. All right, Soul Man or roof painting, up to you. Up to you, Eric Stoltz. Yeah, our opening is fun, and then we get to meet Keith's family.
Yes.
And a little tiny Candace Cameron.
Oh my god.
Such a little precocious one too.
She's
really
precocious
fun.
child cranked up to 11, this kid. Like, it's insane. And I was so surprised that we only saw her sitting around a dinner table.
Yeah, we didn't see enough of her. She should have barged into his room more.
She should have, but I did like his other sister.
Yeah, I did too.
I thought she was fantastic.
She was a lot of fun, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
She was sassy, but like without being too cheesy. Where Candace, she got a little much sometimes. But the family, I don't. The mom was kind of funny because you really only saw her profile like at the table. You never really.
I don't know how this character was written, but at one point they're all sitting down to dinner and she's just wearing a bathrobe. Like, what is this? What is this backstory? Does this woman just never leave the house? I don't know, it's very strange. And I do love, and speaking of outfits in this, and I know it's a thing in the 80s, but I wonder if it's just a thing in movies in the 80s. The amount of sport coats that kids in high school are wearing in this movie is troubling. Like, nobody ever dressed like that, right?
Well, I don't.
Like,
maybe
outside of movies and TV shows.
Not in my high school, but I feel like maybe in some high schools. I want to say more city-bound high schools. How about that?
Okay, so if you're going to the 90210 / Buffy the Vampire Slayer high school / some kind of wonderful high school, you're saying kids might dress like that.
I'm saying that.
All right, okay. Because I do know later when he's trying to woo Leah Thompson, he does start wearing a sport jacket.
Yeah, he does. And she doesn't. She pointed out, I've never seen you look like this before.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm wearing a suit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I like it when her mom's like, how late are you going to be? And she's like, not late.
Yeah.
I'm going out with this loser.
Well, that's weird
I'll be
too.
home
She doesn't
early.
really want to go with him, and
I was so confused by the whole dynamic because
know.
I thought she did want to go with him.
and I thought that she thought he was kind of cute and interesting. But
Right.
then I guess we're supposed to. Maybe it's the ties to her friends. But then he points out that
I
they're
don't
not
know.
really her friends at their
Did
fancy dinner.
Did you recognize her friend?
What
Did
was
you
she from?
recognize
I
her
did
friend?
recognize her, but what was she from? Remind me.
I'll give you one hint.
Oh.
Because at certain points in this movie, when people cried, I wanted Chuck Norris to come out and try.
Yes,
and
that's
console
what she. That's right.
them. In that movie, when she's giving it her all and she's breaking down, and he's sitting next to her, barely with his arm around her, going, "They're there."
Yeah, yeah.
They're
He goes,
there.
"Well, why are you crying? But why are you crying?"
Why? Your whole family was murdered. Why are you crying? Why are you crying? I like to see her in things, and I was happy to see that she did this movie.
But she was a bitch in it, right? She was
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
bitchy friends.
Yeah, and she was pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good bitch. There you have it. Who's the actor that plays the bully?
Elias Codius?
Yes.
Oh,
he's-
wait, the bully
yeah,
or the
skinhead. I guess.
yeah, Elias Codius. He
Yeah.
was in something else we watched too.
Yeah, he was.
And I think we had a lot of trouble with the pronunciation of his name, but I think that's what we landed on.
Okay, I'm glad for it.
He was fantastic.
Yeah,
in
he
this
did a
movie.
great job. He
So
was
great.
very enjoyable. I like when they were drawing their pictures side by side in detention, and he's like carving into the desk, and he rips the desk out.
to show him. Oh my God, he's so charming in this movie. Late in that fight, and I guarantee you this was not in the script because of the look Leah Thompson gives him when he puts his head on her shoulder.
Oh yeah,
at the party.
I noted that too. I saw
So
that too.
great, so great.
Oh.
I do think that the actors, for as much as you don't like Eric Stoltz, and we both kind of said Leah Thompson was blah.
Oh, but I think
I do
they,
think the performances in this movie are what hold it together or elevate it from some of the other teen romance comedies of the time.
No, I'll agree to that. The performances weren't like horrible or stale or cheesy.
No.
There were times when I think I don't know, something was a bit much or off. But
Right.
but yeah, overall the performances were.
I'm not trying to sway you here. I'm not
No,
trying to
you're not.
change your mind.
You're not changing anything. You're
All
not
right.
changing anything. I'm not.
And we're really digging into this. We're not
Yeah,
even
we're-
going through the plot. We're just like, let's dissect this movie.
Yeah, we're choosing and picking what we want to discuss here. Well, because it is you've seen it before, right?
It's by the numbers.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
So there's just certain parts of it that are. I mean, I do love.
Yeah. And
Amanda
I
Jones
think
is her
that's
name.
I think that's the thing that I'll say about this movie. The positive of this
Mm-hmm.
is from I don't know, the first 10 minutes, you know what's going to happen. Like beat for beat, you know everything that's going to happen in this
Oh, yeah.
movie, but at no point was I bored because of that. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Far too often, if I know what's going to happen in a movie, I kind of just tune out and everything. But in this, I was still kind of into it, and it was worth watching.
But I think that speaks to the performances, like you
Right,
said.
right,
and-
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. I enjoyed seeing Candace Cameron play with Garbage Pail Kids stickers.
That was really fun. That was a fun little
Cards. I thought that was
flashback.
great.
Yeah, yeah.
And this kid's dad, so Keith is a high school senior. I guess they're all high school seniors.
Yeah.
And he has a best friend, Mary
Yeah.
Stuart Masterson.
Watts.
Is her name, and she's kind of punky. She's got, short hair.
She's got some family issues because every time, where is her family? We don't
Don't
know.
know.
And she's very elusive. Now, they've been friends, you would think, since like elementary school, but there's no mention ever of like, well, yeah, when your dad went away. Like, he asked for her brothers at one point when he goes to
he's
the
like, do your
room.
brothers mind that you play drums this loud? And she's like, well, I never thought to ask them. But we don't get detail. It doesn't seem like a good home life, of course.
No, and she's always sort of like, I don't know, she's kind of cagey about it, which makes me think there's no family there. And she says, the only thing I love are my drums and you. She doesn't even love her family. There's no mom or dad listed in that love list.
Right. And he's a doof. Like, he is a doof because from moment one, I'm like, all right, this girl's clearly into you. How do you not
Yeah.
see that? Like, how do you not see
What
that?
about when she gives him the kissing lesson?
Oh, my God.
And I was
Because
like,
he's what, like a baby or something? She's like, oh, 8-year-old boy, I guess you might have to learn how to
learn
kiss.
how to kiss. And I wrote it down in my notes, like, kissing lesson? Like, first of all, she makes a lot of bad choices, that Watts, for her.
Oh.
She, besides
So
driving
many
them
bad
on the date
choices.
and then watching the whole date go down,
That's
so she
the
just gets
worst
sadder and
choice.
sadder. She makes other poor choices, like when she volunteers to teach him how to kiss.
Well, is that a bad choice by her?
Well, in the
'Cause
end, I
don't
guess,
know.
'cause
I
that
mean, she
flashback
tricks him into
comes.
kissing her. I mean, first of
Yeah,
all,
but then right away she pushes him away and she's like, "Okay, you're good, you got it," because she's getting
right?
excited
Yes,
herself about
yes.
making out.
I don't know. I should have tried to trick people into kissing me more often.
Yeah, you should have been like,
I didn't
"I'm
know
a
it was.
really good
Yeah.
making out teacher. I can teach you to
I
make out."
didn't know it was this easy, but I guess if your friends are idiots like Eric Stoltz appears to be in this movie, because he acts like a dummy. She's like, "Oh, what if she wants to kiss you?" He's like, "What? Kissing? Is that a thing? What is that? I'm 18. What do you mean?" I'm
Yeah.
like, what are you
How am I
doing?
gonna? I don't know.
Why
Yeah.
do we have to have this scene in this movie?
And then he does get like his. That's what I mean by one of the reasons I think his character is supposed to be so like dorky, I guess, or unpopular, is because he's so nice. Because even when he kisses her and then they stop and he's like, "Oh, I mean, I'm sorry. You're good at it. You're real pretty." And like, I don't know, he's just weird. It's just weird.
He's weird and he's awkward, but they don't even do anything. Like, they don't even put glasses on him or something. Like,
Glasses would have made him feel.
he
a
looks
little
like a
more.
normal person.
Yeah,
Like,
or
he
made
looks
him
like
see
a
because he's an
normal high school
artist, so
kid.
giving him more of an eclectic kind of look to him. You know what I mean? Dressing him up a little suspenders and something crazy. And again, his personality is that he's just nice. He's not
Right, yes.
You know, he's not funky. He's not very funny. She's kind of funny. The Watts, his friend, she's got little one-liners.
But
and
it's just
stuff
so
here,
funny.
but-
Like, late in the movie when he's yelling at his dad and he's like, "Dad, didn't you ever notice I'm into art? My best friend's a girl? Those things don't make you popular."
yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, what? Really? That's it? That's
Yeah.
it? That's the only
Those
things
are the two
against you?"
things. I'm into art, and I got a best friend that's a tomboy. That's it. I'm way down on the popularity list.
Way down.
Has he seen Can't Buy Me Love? Does he know how unpopular that guy was?
I think Can't Buy Me Love came out after this. I'm not sure.
No. Okay.
You know, the director of Can't Buy Me Love watched this movie and went, "Well, I could probably do this better. Let's do something a little bit different." Maybe we could have the sun or something dance to weird tribal music. And,
Yeah.
and we'll figure that out. That'll be great. And make him look dorky. Make him look dorky in this movie.
Give him a dorkier look. We're not dorky enough looking.
Man.
And Amanda Jones isn't sexy enough.
So his dad, so every now and then I guess we'll talk about the plot of this movie. But
Yeah, we'll dabble in that.
his dad, the whole thing with this kid's dad is he wants him to go to college.
Yes.
He's obsessed. His dad's so obsessed with this. He has a book. He's like a 70-page book where he looks at it and he's like, "Co-ed phys ed."
Yeah, he gets very
This'll-
excited about that.
And I was looking at that going,
Co-ed phys.
that entire book cannot be about co-ed phys ed. Or is that like the selling point of this college? They have it right on the cover of the brochure. It's really crazy. But you can tell that Keith really isn't into college. It's not his thing. He enjoys working on cars and just like stalking this girl at school.
Just painting her and doing. Now he enjoys working on cars, but isn't it? It's Watts that's always driving. She drives like a midget mobile. What's that first car she drives? That's like a clown car. What is it?
I love it. It's green with red doors.
It's so
And
tiny
it-
too.
And it then doesn't start sometimes.
Yeah,
But you're right.
yeah.
Like the whole time I'm like, why doesn't he have a car? Like why doesn't he have
He's
a
the
car?
mechanic, but she's the one always driving and the one that.
Yeah.
Because even when they go on their fancy date, she's driving this fancy car. Like she got it for him. When meanwhile, wouldn't he? Have
He
gotten
said
it from the...
he said he borrowed it, but again, we don't know who borrowed it or who he borrowed it
where
from or
the
anything like
details, yeah.
that. But yeah, it's strange. It's just strange. Like, why isn't she working on cars, and why isn't he?
Because she's
painting
just
house
drumming.
roofs?
She's
Right.
just painting house.
She's just drumming, and that's her outlet. That's how she lets out her frustration.
That's
I
what
guess.
she's got to do. That's what she's
Yeah.
got to do. He's creepily into her. So
creepily. into
so he
her.
stares at her during like with her, drawing her, and
During
then
library hour or whatever they have at this high school.
Whatever they have. Then she gets because she gets a ride from her sleazy boyfriend, and then she gets put in detention for coming late to class or something, or leaving class to go for a little cruise in the neighborhood. And
Gym class. Yeah, it's the gym teacher. The gym teacher who has such a big role in this movie.
Yeah.
Like that that gym teacher, I thought it was what's her face from Grease. What's her name?
Oh. I can't think of her name right now.
Yeah, but so I looked her up, and no, it's another past favorite from this movie. Do you remember in Cobra, there was the bad lady who kept making phone calls from payphones?
Oh,
and she was
yeah.
It's her.
She's so suspicious.
But in this, she's dressed like she is in Grease. Her hair, she has like this
like
giant afro. It's really weird looking. Oh, but she's great. She's in several scenes.
Yeah, I do like it when she kicks him out of the gym or the ladies' locker room. Oh, P.S. the ladies' locker room scene. I guess that's when Mary Stuart Masterson's supposed to look sexy, Mary Stuart Masterson, is not looking sexy. She's wearing like a boy's diaper. It looks like I know they're boxers.
They're just boxers.
The
and
way
the one
they
girl's like,
fit her.
"Are those boys' underpants that you're wearing?" I've never seen a girl wear boys' underwear before. And I don't know, whoever was the continuity supervisor or whoever in this movie, it's crazy because at the end you get a shot of Mary Stuart Masterson standing there in these giant, like, polka dot boxers. She walks away. The girl behind her is wearing white boxers. Like, they're both wearing men's underwear. And I was like, what? How did this sneak into this movie?
I mean, it's a secret club of boxer wearing babes.
Oh my god. Yeah. Elias Koteas also, he is like a skinhead or something. He's just like a tough guy.
He's like the bully. Yeah, and there's a whole group of them. They all get Keith pulls the fire alarm so that he gets sent to detention.
He can get detention with. That scene where he is watching her get in trouble with that gym teacher.
Creepy.
That's very creepy.
Creepy, yes.
Because the girls are having gym class, and I guess they're playing tennis. They all have tennis rackets. And he's sitting on the bleachers all alone. He walks down the bleachers to listen to their conversation.
Yeah.
He's about 3 feet from them.
That's why he doesn't have any friends, because he's just like a lurker. You know, that guy that just lurks around, and you're like, I don't want to talk to him. It's kind of creepy. That's probably why she was apprehensive.
I'm also confused why Leah Thompson's boyfriend pays him for looking at her. What
when
is
he
that
throws
all about?
money at
like,
her? I don't know.
He goes to get gas because not only does Eric Stoltz work on cars, I guess he works at a gas station.
Right.
So this jerk pulls up, and this is after the scene where they're sitting in the library and he's staring at her, like drawing pictures of her and everything. And the jerky guy makes him, change his oil. He honks the horn. And I love how the guy's like, so is this your career? And I'm like, he's a high school student. What kind of question is that? And he goes, here's 10 for the gas and 10 for the look. What? Did you just pay him to look at your girlfriend?
I didn't understand. There was a couple of lines that the jerk boyfriend had that I was like, God. Are you tough or are you just... You're just puffy faced. I don't understand.
I also love, and we're jumping around. Guys, watch the movie and then come back and listen. Because we're not even treating this like a normal episode because, I don't know, I'm just having too much fun talking about parts I liked or weird parts. When Elias Koteas, when the teacher comes up to him and he keeps pulls a pack of cigarettes out of his pocket, pulls a bottle of booze out of it, and the whole time he's like, I don't know how that got there.
And then there's like nudie cards that he pulls out. Yeah.
There's a deck of nudie cards. He's like, where'd you get these? And he goes, they were a gift from your wife. And the teacher tries to wait. He's like, what? What am I getting detention for? What? His performance in this it's worth watching just to watch his scenes. Because he is having so much fun, apparently.
And he does a great job. He's a likable, tough guy bully.
And I'm glad he wasn't just a creep through the whole thing.
Yes, me too. Yeah, because when we first meet him...
boyfriend is creepy enough.
Yeah, we just need the one, yeah. And when we first meet that character, he's kind of rotten. He's calling Mayor Stuart Masterson a lesbian and making fun of. But then, yeah, slowly through detentions and through I don't know what else, their love of art, because he's carving on the desks, they form a nice little relationship, a friendship, if you will, that really comes in handy. At the end of this
comes
movie.
in handy because his dad works security.
Oh
apparently,
yeah, P.S. at the art museum.
At an art museum.
Where he could put this giant display up of, because this is like supposed to be a legitimate art museum, right? That how did his artwork get displayed
right,
in?
Yeah. I don't know. It is hard to get displayed. I just love the fact that he took down some sort of priceless painting to hang up this sack of crap that he made in art class.
And she looked tired, like she had bags under her eyes in the picture that he painted. I was like, that's not a very flattering painting, I would say. Right. But of Amanda Jones.
Whatever happened to the guy in the anarchist T-shirt who was really hitting on Watts? What happened to that guy? He just disappeared out of the movie. I was like, this is the romance I want to watch.
That was so crazy. So there comes a point when, because Watts is really into Keith, she's trying to make him, and he's clueless and just pursuing Amanda Jones. Watts tries to make him jealous by getting this guy to hang out with her.
Yeah.
Or pretend that he is not pretending. He's into her. But is he an idiot? Is that what we're supposed to think? That he's just
he's
a
big
moron?
dumb idiot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so she's over him. But yeah, I wanted to see more of him. When she gets him to push the car, because the car ran out of gas and he's pushing it.
Their whole thing is hilarious when she's like, hey, when this Keith guy comes over, just pretend you're really into me. It'll be great and everything. Yeah. And the moment Keith walks over, he turns around, he's like, hey, way to go with Amanda Jones, man. She's smoking hot. That's awesome.
He gets a lot of compliments. So Amanda Jones and her skanky boyfriend are she catches him at one point making out with another girl a couple of times.
Several times.
With this, yeah. And one of
his excuses are great. I love when he's like, "She's my little sister's friend, and her brother was in a car accident. She's just all depressed." I'm like, "You were just making out with her in front of your girlfriend." I don't know if that's a good excuse.
There's one point when he gets caught and she walks away, and again, creepy McKeith is over there just watching. Remember when he makes eye contact with Leah Thompson and gives her this wink nod gesture?
That's when he's across the street, and that's when they break up. And the moment they break up, you see in his eyes, he's like, "Now I have my chance." And he just yells, "Hey Amanda, I want to talk to you." It's like, why are you there? And also behind him is Watts in that car. And I'm like, did she drive you here?
Yeah.
Did she drive you?
And she's going to stop. Watts
try and score a date. That is, folks, if you're out there and you're considering maybe chauffeuring someone you're really into on a date with somebody else, don't do it. It's bad news.
No, it's bad news. It's bad news. Well, that was his plan. When Watts was like, what are you going to do? How are you going to get her? He's like, I'm just going to ask her. Yeah. So he does. And because she's in this moment, Amanda Jones is in this moment of desperation where she's angry at her sleazy boyfriend for making out with other girls, she agrees and says yes. And the whole school finds out. Like you said, the bonehead dude that's being set up to everybody. Random people are like, oh,
but it's such a weird thing because she's like, yeah, let's go out. That's fine. And I kind of thought it's not like in our lost episode, License to Drive, where she's really, really wasted and he asked her out and she says yes. And she's not in her own right mind. And, it's not even like that. It's just kind of like, all right, so you know what? You said you'd go out with him. You go out with him one time. That's it.
Well, she does it to get back at her boyfriend, right? No, but she doesn't keep going out, right? Isn't this the first time? Is there
right?
Big date?
That's what I mean. Just keep the date. Is it really that big a deal? Is he such a social outcast at this school where she can't go out with him one time?
Well, he's into art and he has that tomboy friend. So
you're right. Yeah.
And he works at the gas station.
Gas station. You're right. Nope.
He's got an old-timey gas station, too. Well, I guess not that old-timey. I don't know if I'm dating us, but like they check
it's the one
the oil
where
and
the
they...
bell rings
Yeah.
when somebody pulls out.
Okay.
He travels back in time to go work at his gas station. Oh my God, it's great. And I love how his sister even knows. Like his little sister even knows
yeah,
all about
because
this.
she must be like a freshman in high school, I'm assuming.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
And but it is funny because after he gets his date with her, they're all sitting around dinner and his entire family's staring at him because he's smiling. Like it is a crazy reaction where this kid for his entire life has never had a moment of happiness.
Of just joy and sitting there with a smile. I will say that the dinner scene, I just enjoy sometimes an 80s movie dinner scene, family dinner.
Yeah.
Where they're like drinking their milk and scraping their forks on their plates. And, but yeah, he is just happy because he scored this date. And the dad's like, what the hell's wrong with you? What are you smiling for? Are you thinking about college?
Are you thinking about co-ed phys ed? Because I am. I've been thinking about it since that brochure showed up, son.
That 250-page brochure.
Phys ed, co-ed phys ed. We had co-ed phys ed at our college. It was not that exciting.
It wasn't advertised.
No,
At least I don't
no.
think.
I played badminton alongside girls. It wasn't
It was
great.
insane. It was insane. I didn't take badminton with you, did I? No.
No.
But I did take badminton.
So she agrees to go with him on this date, and it's the whole crux of this movie where he's like, I'm so in love with this girl. I've been in love with her since, at least he didn't say something like, I've been in love with her since second grade. Like that would have been ultra creepy.
Yeah.
That never comes up.
No, you don't know how long they know each other.
No, you have no idea.
Yeah.
And the whole time his friend Watts is like, she's just a preppy rich bitch jerk, and why do you even like her? You should like someone who's maybe closer to you all the time and maybe has a shorter haircut or so. Like she's doing everything but saying she's madly in love with him.
It's so obvious. There's one point where she decides that she doesn't want to hang out with him anymore, that it's better for them not to hang out because she doesn't want him.
It's so sad.
It's so sad. This is when she says, like, hey, we're starting to fight a lot, because they are. She's very tense with him because he's sort of getting, a lot of, before the date even happens, he's getting a lot of attention for the fact that he's getting to go on a date with this Amanda Jones.
But it is like, we need a scene of him walking down the hall of this high school and getting like high fives and stuff, like where he's suddenly cool or something. But it's treated like, did you hear this? I don't think this is really happening. Yeah. This is weird. This is creepy. Like, that's how it's treated by everybody in the school.
But then it becomes more official when he gets a ride home, right, from the friend.
Right.
Like you said, they get a ride home. Because then the sister
her friend
even...
from Code of Silence is like, whoa, oh, didn't you have something? Because she keeps telling her to break the date with him for some reason. And she even at one point is like, isn't there something you wanted to talk to him about? And he's in the back going, oh, did you want to break our date? And she's like, well, if you want to break it, I understand. He's like, no, I've been looking forward to this my entire life.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm all in.
Have you seen the giant life-size portrait of you I've made?
Right.
And the dozens of sketches in my sketchbook that are just of your face?
I come into school early every day to paint a giant picture of you. One time your ex-boyfriend walked in. It was kind of scary. I thought he was going to see it, but he didn't. I backed up into a corner like a weirdo, and I talked to him.
And then he invited me to a party. That's another weird...
Everything about even the scene where Watts freaks out, or not freaks out, but cries and is like, I don't want to see you, and we shouldn't see each other anymore.
Yeah.
He's there. He's at this club because he's like, oh, yeah, Amanda said she was going to show up here.
Oh, right.
And Watts is like, oh, she's not showing up here, blah, blah, blah. And that goes nowhere. We never found out if she showed up.
Did she
we
stand
never
him
found
up?
out
Right.
why he thought she was showing up there.
Yeah, she literally, it's an underground club they go to. And it seems like it's like Because we see Watts walk in there, and she doesn't, I don't think, expect to see him in there.
It's like he's never been there before, and he's there to meet Amanda Jones, but
Then Amanda Jones never.
why?
Yeah.
This scene seems tacked on or something.
I agree.
It's really weird because then I thought, wait, is this their date? Are they going
Yeah.
to this underground
No.
punk club?
No.
No.
I did decide that the movie shouldn't be called, like, they never even play that song, Some Kind of Wonderful. It should be called Amanda
It should
Jones.
be called Amanda Jones. Yes. Why? Some kind
Right?
of what? I didn't even think about the fact that they don't play the song. Wow.
No.
That's crazy.
And what is the wonderful part? Is it the Watts and Keith relationship? Is it the fact that Amanda can finally be on her own and claim her independence? Is it the fact that, I don't know. Those are so expensive, those diamonds earrings. I'm having a hard time now as I'm absorbing how much.
Couldn't even imagine.
No.
And I love how she's like, oh, yeah, these diamond earrings. He's like, those earrings are great. She's like, yeah, Shay let me borrow them. I'm like, why'd you say that? Like, why do you just say that? Like, because that's why half the time I'm like, okay, she's kind of into him. They come from the same sort of neighborhood. And she's like, well, you know, he probably knows they're not mine. I'm going to fess up. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be modest around this guy.
Right.
But you don't want to go out with him? It's such a strange dynamic.
Well, that's why at the end of the movie she decides to spend some time alone so she could figure herself out.
I kind of wanted at the
She's gonna
end of this
know.
movie for the three of them to be like, we all live in the same neighborhood. Let's just be friends. We're starting a crew now. This is just the three of us. Let's do it.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
He would be fun. Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, we talked about the fight that Amanda has when her ex-boyfriend comes into the gym and then has to get kicked out because he doesn't want to break up. He thinks it's stupid.
I like when the gym teacher's yelling at him and he's like, hold on a second. I'm trying to have a conversation here.
Yeah.
You're in. I mean, I know you're 25 years old, but you're still playing a high school student. Come on.
He tells her, there's nothing here that I haven't seen before because he's in the ladies' locker room, right? There's nothing here I haven't seen before.
And it's funny because these lines, I don't think are played for laughs in this movie. Like, I think there are certain scenes where it's supposed to be very serious, but I was like, that's a funny line. Like, why is it not getting the reaction, or why doesn't it feel like it's played for laughs? I don't know. There were times where I watched this and I was like, oh, yeah, this was written by John Hughes because it's smart and it's clever. But most of the time I went, now this doesn't seem like something written by John Hughes. This seems like something written by somebody who's just watched a lot of these movies and was like, I can do that.
I agree. It does have that sense of it. I do like it though. So the sister, his sister that we like, the teenage one, not Cameron. She's kind of taking advantage of the situation because she says that because her brother's now going to date this real popular girl, it kind of elevates her to this popular status just by them dating. And so she's with her friends at the mall and she tells them, I was hanging with you fun guys to cool you guys out.
Yes, I did enjoy that because three of her friends are like, this is amazing. I can't believe you're hanging out with all these cool kids. And her one friend's like, this is a bunch of bullshit. If you're so great, there they are. Why aren't you hanging out with them now? And I like how she just sidles up next to Harley or Hardy or whatever his name is. And it comes,
Harley.
Not that it comes to nothing, because she overhears their brilliant plan, which is, he's going to show up at this party, then we're going to beat him up. Brilliant. You guys are genius.
That's how you'll win her back.
That's how you win your girlfriend.
Yeah.
I have huge problems with this plan. Like, I wish it was more thought out or more clever or something.
And why do they want to beat him up? Why do they want to beat him up? And then, too, when it comes to it, because Hardy is not really a tough guy. So even when the fight comes to happen, he's having other people he's going, you guys go bite him.
I do like that.
No, I can't. I can't fight him right now. I'm hosting a party. With tears in my eyes because I'm very emotional.
With tears in my eyes because some skinheads show up, and the way I react is, my parents are coming home soon.
Yeah, my parents are going to be home.
It's so good.
All right, let's just forget this whole mess started, and it's just.
And I was a little upset because then Elias Koteas is like, I think we're going to hang out. and we're gonna turn
Yeah,
this
we're gonna
party
turn up
and
this
I was
party.
like, and I love how he keeps looking at the girl from Code of Silence. He's like, hey, that girl's into you. That girl's really into you. That creepo
Yeah,
weird
she's
guy
making
with
eyes with the one guy. Yeah.
sunglasses. And he takes them off, and he looks even more
they
bizarre without them on.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
no. I was like, no, Keith, no, stay at this party. I want to see what happens. I want to see the rest
I
of
know.
this party.
I want us to
'cause it's gonna
focus
be
on this
so
party,
great.
yeah.
But they have to leave, of course, and end the movie.
Well, the magic that needed to happen at the party
So I
happened.
think we can kind of speed through and kind of get to the end of this movie, which
No,
is
like we've already
like we
have.
already have,
Yeah.
which is the date. And the whole
Yeah.
idea of this date is he at one point, his sister overhears that these dudes are going to beat him up. So his sister tells him this. His sister's like,
Very sweetly. It's a very sweet moment between the
she's
sister
like,
and he.
it's
Yeah.
all a joke. And she's like,
Yeah.
Amanda Jones, she's in on it too. She's going to take you to this guy's
Yes,
party.
That's right.
And he's going to beat you up and humiliate you. And I wanted to let you know. And he's like, you know what? I'm still going to go through with it because I'm a dumb idiot.
Well, he claims he's got some point to prove, which I guess in some ways he does, because in the end he does make that guy Hardy look bad. But really, in the end, it's not even like
It works
everybody's
out
like,
for him.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
But it's not like he doesn't really have a point to prove because he proves
But he's
nothing.
not like vindicated. Yeah.
Right. If he did not have Elias Koteas show up, that would have gone very bad. And he would have been beat up by a couple of nobodies. Not even the guy that he's after would beat him up. And that would have been the end. Because, oddly enough, I think he's just like, well, there's still a chance to go out with Amanda. Like, even if this is just a joke,
so sad.
I can still do this. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make her feel like trash by spending my life savings on
on the
earrings.
whole night on the earrings, and then
the
they go out to this
caviar.
fancy dinner. Yep.
Because the whole thing's so confusing. Because he's like, oh, look at that. It's caviar. Aren't you rich morons so into caviar? And then suddenly hamburgers show up and he winks like, you thought I was just tricking you. I'm like, what is happening on this date right now?
And then they're toasting and enjoying their date, and there's sad Watts watching from the window because she's driving him around.
And also, they put down platters and they reveal hamburgers. And I'm like, did he order ahead? Leah Thompson has no idea that a hamburger's going to show up. This is so weird. And you're right, because the girl that has a crush on him, his best friend Watts, agrees to chauffeur them around. She dresses up. She wears the whole getup.
Little cap and everything.
Opens
Yep.
the car door for, and I love, oh my God, I love it.
Oh, when she's playing poker with the
No, that was
valet drivers?
kind of funny too. Yeah,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
playing poker with the valet guys, or craps, or whatever, dice, something.
Dice.
I like it
yeah.
when she opens the door and Leah Thompson gets out, and she's like, "You break his heart, and I'll break your face."
Oh, yeah.
And Leah Thompson, literally, I thought this was her best performance of the movie because she looks like, I don't know what the hell is going on right now.
Yeah.
She
She is alarmed.
has this
yeah.
look on her face like, is this a joke on me? Like, is
Yeah.
all of this?
She even says, because when they come pick her up, and she's like, do you always take your dates out with another woman or another girl? And he's like, yeah, I gotta have a backup. And she's like, because he's kind of like, he's a little bit salty, but he's not a salty guy. So every time he tries to be salty to her, he follows it up with something really sweet.
He brings Watts food from the restaurant. He's like, here you go. It's a little doggy bag and everything. And she's so pissed. And this whole thing is just so bizarre. But this is when they then go to Art Museum, which is closed down, but they have backstage access to this thing.
Yeah, they do.
He
yeah,
reveals
they
the
do.
very creepy painting of her.
And not flattering.
I mean, it's one thing, and I'm not excusing him, sketching her quickly while they're in library, but it's another thing to work on a painting for weeks,
A huge
possibly.
life-size
Life-size painting of her.
of her leaning on like a graffiti wall.
Yeah.
Just looking sad.
It's like she's stepping out of a back alley or something. It is a weird image. And the look on her face is not of terror when she sees this.
No, she's like, well, I guess because someone's taking a sincere interest in her. And as we come to find out, her boyfriend and her friends have never really
Right.
cared about her. right?
I like to
She
think
knows
that
now,
her
too.
Code of Silence friend did end up getting together with some thug, and they did end
And then
up
changed
having
her ways a little.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's possible. I'm not gonna deny it. Oh, what about when they go in to the art museum?
Mm-hmm.
And they're first walking around, she was like, "Oh, no one's here. This is crazy." And he shushes her, and he says, it gets real creepy before he shows her, reveals the photo, and he says, "This place is my church."
Oh, it's not
Yeah,
good.
And then he takes her to the giant painting of her. This is when Leah Thompson gets emotional about her hate, how she hates the way she is, and she has
Yes.
this hatred that builds. It's all about her hatred and her.
Yeah.
But then they kiss, and of course Watts watches.
She what?
And-
They're at what, the Hollywood Bowl, or where are they?
Yes,
I don't even know.
they're at the Hollywood Bowl, which is very, and that too,
Can
they
you
must have
just
private
wander
access.
in there?
No.
Can you just
Not
walk
like
off the
that.
street and sit on the stage?
Maybe this was the same security guard. I don't know.
I don't know. That guy's a busy security. So it's not attached to an art museum. That's what you're saying. Okay. Because it is weird. Because she's just up in the bleachers watching them make out, and I'm like, what are you doing?
What are you doing to yourself?
What are you
Yeah, what are you
doing?
doing to yourself? She doesn't want him to go. Watts, well, and actually, neither does
Right.
Amanda. They don't want him to go to the party. Like, we don't have to go. And he's like, no, I still have a point to prove. Let's go to this
Right.
big party. It's
Oh.
a rager.
There's one line that
Uh,
we skipped over when
what is
she comes out of her house, and she's like, "Oh, where'd you get this car?" And he's like, "Oh, I borrowed it." And he says, "Your ass was too precious for vinyl."
Oh yeah, yeah,
What?
yeah.
What are you
And
doing?
she,
This is how you
and again,
start this
I
date.
think he's trying to be a little salty.
Right,
with
I think
her
so
at
too, but it
times.
doesn't work.
But it doesn't
it's
work.
Not working
Yeah.
at all. It just comes off as a weird, awkward, trying to be funny line. Because I think
Yeah.
that's how she takes it.
But she plays it. Yeah, she laughs at it and is like, "Oh, you're probably right." Huh? But yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Their whole interactions are weird. That's why I'm glad in the end that they don't end up together. Because I'm like, I didn't even think you guys jived right. Like, it's clear that you don't belong with Leah Thompson. It's clear.
It's clear, but I don't know. It's a movie. Like it's movie romance where I'm like, yeah, he could probably end up with Leah Thompson. They seem fine together. Oh yeah, he could end up with Watts. They seem fine together. Like I don't know. It didn't seem that awkward to me. I was just confused as to what both of them were doing on this date. I didn't know who was trying to be, like you said, salty. Who was being sincere? Was it a joke? Like at
Well,
no
they
point
come
did
to
I
a
understand
sincerity.
this. Yeah,
That's by the end, they've had a real kind of heart to heart. She's at least opened up to him about
Right.
her feelings that she's probably never expressed.
yeah.
And
when he
this-
gives her the earrings, he's like,
No.
"These cost me every cent I earned." I'm like, "Why are you saying that? Like, do
No,
you
you're
think
creeping her out, dude.
you just
she doesn't wanna-
painted a life-size portrait of her
She
and
is
said you spent
good-
your entire savings on these earrings?
On these earrings.
What are you hoping to get out of this? Are you just trying to make it feel like garbage? Because you're taking this way too far.
If she was smart, she would go after Watts. She'd be like, "Listen, men are complicated.
Right.
My ex-boyfriend's jerk, and this guy's
Mm-hmm.
also an obsessive weirdo. I think ladies are where it's at."
That's, you know what? And not even go after her. But at the end of this movie, she should have walked up to her and been like, "He's all yours, but watch out for this creep because he's real fucking scary."
Watts would have been like, "I know, that's what I like about him."
I'm into that. Don't you see my getup? Don't you see what I'm into?
Didn't you see my boy boxers?
Mm-hmm. Of course you saw my giant baggy boy boxers that I've apparently been tucking into jeans I'm wearing. I don't know.
Complicated.
Oh my God. So they arrive at this party and it's the big conclusion to the movie. And as we said before, Hardy is now dating China Phillips for some reason. And he instructs his goon squad to take him outside and kick the shit out of him.
But then our friend Keith has his own goon squad that shows up.
Yeah.
1 minute they're letting him into museums. Next minute they're banding together as a bunch of goons ready to kick ass. And he says, oh, it's so great when he comes in that, what's the actor's name again? I'm not going to try to pronounce it. I'll butcher it.
Elias Codius.
Elias Koteas.
Yeah.
What a great name, actually.
Great name.
Really
and he's so
great
great.
name.
Even now, anything I see him in, I'm like, okay, this is going to be pretty good.
He was in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. He was really good in it, too.
Yes, of course. I don't know why that's so funny. I was just talking. I was literally just talking to my kids about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like an hour ago, and I don't know why. Because I was going.
You should watch the movie.
I was going through their names, and my daughter was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are named after Italian artists and inventors." She's like,
and they
what
like to eat
is
pizza in the
show?"
sewage with a giant rat.
I'm explaining the backstory of this, and I'm realizing it's
Oh,
crazy.
especially
It's,
3 little girls are like, "Why are we watching a movie about turtles in a sewer, Dad? And what, they do karate? What?"
and then I showed them the theme song, and when they
Oh,
said
man,
that
you had a
Michelangelo's
little
a party
tutorial.
dude, oh, they
Yeah.
lost it. They thought it was hilarious. Yeah,
Oh man,
I should watch the
good
Teenage-
times at your house.
It
You
really
should.
is. No, those movies are terrible. Those movies are
Children, let
awful.
me regale you. Know the original one? The original one.
Don't
is
you?
really
Don't
good.
you? Don't
Now,
you
I'm
try
gonna
and
just
tell
say
me.
it.
I hope that is your recommendation at the end of it.
So once the bullies come and then our jerk guy Hardy is kind of chicken enough.
Yes, he's crying,
for
like you
Keith
say. He
to
looks
kinda
like he's about to
make- yeah.
cry the whole time.
But now Keith can kind of make his statement at him. He doesn't go to hit him. He doesn't do anything like that. He just walks up to him and is like, "You know what? I think the problem is you." And he does. It's not even like a cool like,
No,
"You've been doing this to me for years," and blah blah blah. He's just like, "I don't got to do anything
Yeah.
because you've done it to yourself."
it's not even a make me. I don't make trash. I burn it. Like, fine, do
Yeah, no,
like
it's
have a
not any
stupid
kind of a
line.
burn.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like, aren't you gonna
And-
hit him? No, he did this to himself. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you? What? Okay.
What?
All right.
What does that even mean? And then Leah Thompson is like, "You're just, that's it?" And then she goes up to him and slaps him across the face like 3 times.
Twice. It's so great because one slap is great, but she comes back and she's like, "Bam!"
For the
again.
second. Well, he is really jerky to her. Like originally, so it's not even like the guys that are. So when they get to the party before the bullies get there, and his thugs are trying to take Keith outside, his thugs don't even look that tough or intimidating or anything. And
They're wearing
her
sport coats. Come on.
Yes, and her boyfriend's being a jerk, and he's like, "All right, beg me back. The only thing that'll make me not beat him up is if you beg me back." And so I get it. I feel her pain when she wants to slap him because I wanted to
Right.
slap him too. But so now they leave and they're leaving the party and they're so giddy because "Ooh, we did it. Did you see his face?" Oh, what about when she does slap him and the Eric Stoltz and the bully guy, like, they literally, like, open mouth. They're like, oh my God. It's so ridiculous.
It reminds me of. Do you remember the Saturday Night Live skit where it was Chris Farley and Adam Sandler, and it was a commercial for a beer called Schmidt's Gay?
Oh,
And
yes,
they like
yes.
did that thing where like these these shirtless dudes showed up and they opened their mouths and he flips up his sunglasses like it was a look like that. It was crazy.
Yeah. They had these like open mouth wow after she slaps him. But then anyway, so then they leave the party and they're all like, "Oh, we did it. Did you see his face?
Yeah.
Did you see that?" And again, here's our sad little
Watts is crying down by this car, and he says to her, he's like, "Man, you should have seen what happened." She's like, "I saw it from here." And I'm like, "You're 50 yards away, down on the
and
street."
he like whispered something to him. What did you see?
Right. You didn't see any of this. You were sobbing uncontrollably in a car as you ate, I don't know what, out of a doggy bag.
The leftover burger.
Right.
But then this moment happens, though. When he walks out and sees Sad Watts, he gets this flashback to when he had his makeout lesson with her. That's all he needed.
That's
He
all
just
he
needed to
needed.
see her sad and vulnerable enough to be like, "Oh, wait, I do love her."
A second.
And then-
she is a girl.
And yeah, exactly. And Leah Thompson or Amanda takes this all in real quick. She like analyzes the situation and is like, "Wait a minute, they're really the ones in love, and I
Threatened
should
me
be
earlier
alone."
tonight.
Yeah, Yeah, but she does. Watts makes nice and shakes her hand and says, "Sorry for judging you," is what she says to Amanda.
Right.
And Amanda just says, "Yeah, thanks," or no, she might say, "Sorry for judging you."
She smiles and is like,
Yeah.
"Yes, I'm Leah Thompson. I was in space camp."
So, yeah, exactly. So she was a Wolverine. So then she.
Oh my god. Oh man.
Let we not forget.
Anyway, whatever. Yeah, past episode Red Dawn, everybody check it out because apparently we don't remember.
Clearly, exactly. We watch it. You don't know.
We remember hilariousness of that movie.
Any butt jokes, we're all over them.
Avenge
But other
me!
it was so good. The dad was
So
so
great.
intense.
When they just gave them those feral girls, when he was like, I don't know, we found these girls and we're keeping them in the basement. They should go with you guys.
When C. Thomas Howell drinks that deer's blood and transforms his whole life, I still think about that scene, and I'm still like, wow.
Wow, he went from 0 to 100. He just drank deer's blood. He's like, I need to murder everyone, and I'm going to try and shoot at helicopters now? This is great. Oh,
Right.
man.
We're
All
so
right.
close to the end of this movie, and we totally derailed. And
I know.
All right. All right. So when Sad Watts walks away, runs away, of course, he goes chasing after her, gives her the diamond earrings, like you said. It's kind of lame. Like, you want her to be
Super
like, I
lame.
don't need the diamond, whatever. And then it ends. They're together.
Yeah,
And
it
there's
really does end.
some kind
Yeah.
of wonderful. It wasn't very wonderful for
Yeah.
me.
Oh, we get an Irish folk version of I Can't Help Falling in Love with You at the end of
Yeah.
this movie, which is awful.
Awful.
Just awful. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was some kind of wonderful, our 1987 film. Have we seen Eric Stoltz before? Because I think we've seen a
I
lot
don't
of
think
these
we
actors.
have.
This is our first Stoltz. Well,
Yeah.
I'll be prepared for more. I know he's in Mask, and
He is
Cher
in
really
Mask.
liked that boy.
He's in The Fly 2.
Ooh.
He's
But
in...
The Fly one's Goldblum, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. No, we have to do The Fly 1 before we do The Fly 2, of course. How will we know what's happening?
And we've got to be updated.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's they.
So I think we kind of talked about it. I think we really did like more so than most other movies that we talk about. We really did take like the first half of this and really dug into it and talked about what we thought worked and what didn't. But overall, would you recommend this movie? I guess is the question.
No.
that we ask. Okay.
No, I think there's better of this. Like you said, like we've said, the formula, like Say Anything is the classic version of this, or Reality Bites is in the 80s, but this type of movie, this has been done before and it's been done better, I think. There was aspects of it I liked, and it's fine that I saw it, but it's not like it changed my life for seeing it, or I'm like, I can't believe I missed that one in the 80s. I'm like, oh yeah, Eric Stoltz is creepy. That's why I didn't see it. What about you?
I probably would recommend it, honestly.
You would?
Yeah, I think I had more fun watching this than you did, I think.
No,
And,
okay.
I mean, it's not great, but I guess it was better than I thought it would be. And I think it was because parts of it were goofy. Like I don't mind in a movie. Sometimes I like a movie where I'm watching it going, what's happening? Like how are these characters aren't even interacting like normal human beings would, and sometimes that's kind of fun.
You're looking for that, yeah.
For how bad it is or how bad the writing is or something. It just didn't click. Like the performances and the writing did not go together. I feel like the characters at times thought they were in a comedy,
Yeah.
and at times they thought they were in a drama, and I just don't feel like it all matched up to a movie that makes a whole lot of sense. But also I feel like that's kind of the charm of this movie.
So you'd say go ahead and watch it. All right.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
I would. I'll give you my recommendation first. My recommendation is another 80s movie.
Oh, I try to keep away from that. I have to tell you,
No,
I try
I
to
do
get
too.
cognizant
Yeah.
of don't recommend another 80s movie, especially because we might watch it. But I'm anxious to hear what is your 80s movie.
I have to recommend this, though, because it's a movie called My Chauffeur.
Oh.
And it stars Deborah Foreman. Now, we saw Deborah Foreman. She was Nick Cage's love interest in... why can't I think of the name of that movie now?
Where he's
something... Valley Girl.
Valley Girl. I was going to say something about the beach. No, the Valley.
Yeah. And she was also the female lead in Waxwork, too.
Ooh.
So... but she plays a girl, I think she's like a dishwasher at the start of this movie, but she gets a job. She gets a job to drive somebody around. And then she basically becomes a female limo driver in like a company full of men. So there's some interesting sexism there, and it's kind of fun to sort of see that. But it also just then turns into a romantic comedy because, of course, she drives around this rich guy, and he's kind of a jerk, but then he's into her.
And she's in it.
Yeah, and it's sort of a fun, lesser seen movie from the 80s that is kind of formulaic, but the people in it are really good. So that's my recommendation.
Better. Okay. All right. I think I would enjoy that more than this. Well,
hey, don't say anything you're going to regret later when we watch this. So.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. So I have a recommendation that unfortunately I've seen this movie a while ago. So the details, I remembered the movie and then I didn't remember the details as well because it's an indie kind of artsy fartsy movie. So there was, once I read about it online, I was like, oh yeah, then that happened too. But it's called Me and You and Everyone We Know. It's a Miranda July movie. She wrote it and directed it, and she is a cab driver. She drives elder cab, so she drives old people around. And she's also an artist, and she recreates her reality through her art. And she eventually meets this guy who's a used shoe salesman, and he has two sons. And his two sons, that you get into a little bit about their life, like the teenage son. There's a lot of different components to the movie, but essentially it's neat because what she's trying to express in this movie is because it's all these characters just kind of run on impulse. They don't think twice. They kind of do what they're going to do, say what they're going to feel, and just do it. And it's a quirky kind of fun movie. It's neat. I think it was in 2000, maybe 10.
I've heard of it. I've heard of the title. I've never seen it.
It's fun. I would recommend it. It's funny. Yeah.
I have to say, our recommendations pretty good this time.
Yeah.
In that they tie in so perfectly. They're actually two movies, which I'm going to say it's been about 5 months since that's actually happened. We did it. We're back on track. All right. So, everybody, if you don't know this, there is a holiday that we celebrate on this podcast, and this will be the 3rd year of Sly's Giving.
Our 3rd? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
3rd year. We had Cobra, we had Rhinestone.
My favorite.
And now, interestingly enough, I had another one in mind, but, and I think I spoiled this for listeners already, in December, we're going to do a Billy December.
Billy
D. Williams movies. So this movie is straddling the line between Sly's Giving and Billy December because we're going to talk about a movie from 1981 called Nighthawks.
Ooh.
Where Sly Stallone and Billy D. Williams play police officer partners.
Ah, that gives a hearty high five from me. I love it. It sounds like a good one.
Crime thriller. So we're going to
from
get
the early 80s.
Early 80s Sly, early 80s Billy D.
This is going to be sloppy. I'm excited.
Hey, it probably will be.
Yep.
I can't say if Sly will sing, if he will play piano. Who knows what might happen? Is he going to cut pizza with a pair of scissors? Maybe. God damn it.
There's only so much he could do without Dolly. I'm just saying.
I'm kind of scared. I know at some point we're going to run out of Sly movies from the 80s, and I'm kind of afraid of that day.
No, don't fear it. Just listen.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
Enough to sustain us for a bit.
Yeah, it's
we'll be
not
okay.
like the Jean-Claude Van Damme thing where we have like 2 left, and I'm really trying
Me
to put
too.
those off.
Stretch them out. Oh, I have a soft spot in my heart for that Jean-Claude.
You sure do. I know.
I know. You sure do. Yeah, man. Well.
Well, Anyway, everybody, check us out on the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our last episode was a listener-suggested episode.
Oh, was it good? Yeah.
So if you listen to our Amazon Women on the Moon episode, that was suggested by a listener who donated on Patreon at a certain level. And if you do that once a year, you get like a month. We give you a month, and you get to pick a movie, and we will talk about that movie that month. That's a weird way to end that.
There's that.
And you stumble through that. But that's at patreon.com/goodtimesgreatmovies. And right around the corner, we have a December 1st episode coming up.
Mm-hmm. Little bonus.
Possibly. It's a Christmas movie with, who's in that? Tell me. Is it Webster? Is it Webster?
No,
Or is
it's
it?
not Webster.
It's, who's in it?
It's the Different Strokes kid, isn't it? I don't know. We should know.
Gary Coleman? His name's
not
Gary
Gary.
Coleman. I think it's Gary Coleman.
You're going to have to edit
And
this
who else?
out.
Mr.
This is
T?
so sloppy.
I think it's
This is the most anticlimactic. Get ready. That's like,
Get ready, Webster. Nope. Somebody else. Gary Coleman and Mr. T.
I don't think it's Gary Coleman.
In a Webster and Mr. T. You know what? I'm going to look it up, and then I'll use whichever one of those is appropriate. Then I'll put that in the episode.
All right, fair enough.
But
Oh,
a
wait, it's
Christmas
Joey
special.
Lawrence and Mr. T. No.
Joey Lawrence and Matthew Lawrence and the other Lawrence.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There's three of them.
There's three of them. Hey, they worked on Cars in that show. Do you remember that show that they had?
Oh, yeah.
Brotherly Love?
I do.
I should not know the name.
Yeah,
God
you do.
damn it, Jamie. I know way too much about Joey Lawrence. That wasn't me showing off. That was there.
That's when
that was
the
in the
knowledge
front of
just-
my
yeah.
brain.
I know.
I
that
couldn't
came
think
a
of
little
Gary
too
Coleman's
quickly.
name.
That all came
Brotherly
a little
Love
too quickly. Yeah.
was
You can't
right
remember
there.
which Wolverine survived. Neither can I. But at least I'm not pulling facts out about the Lawrence brothers.
Until then, have a great 2 weeks.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Wise man say.
Must be a hen house because I don't see nothing but chicken shit.
Shutting off that loud heat. Shutting that heat because it's so what? So loud. That heater so loud. Your heat is so loud. How'd your heat get so loud?
Don't you
Hold
know
down for
things will
one
change?
more
Oh,
day.
my God. I got that. Or I have, hey, Santa. Hey, Santa.
Oh, no, don't do that
Santa.
one.
No?
Don't do that
Okay.
one. No.
I mean, it's not quite Christmas yet. All right.